Hey guys, we're here to talk about EI today, which is emotional intelligence, with Dave Jones. He's going to take us through it, and hopefully we learn quite a bit.
All right, so emotional intelligence, or EI. I'm going to refer to EI, emotional intelligence, low EI or high EI. So let me just say that this is a very, very basic model of emotional intelligence. I've studied this thing a lot, and I know there's probably a lot more out there to learn about it. There's really 3 to 4 people who have made it popular over the years. I say it's becoming more popular now. It's been in the same kind of talk as IQ. This is not about IQ. IQ is something that's it's definitely debatable, but it's based on your heredity, right, and who you are, and how you were born, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas emotional intelligence is more learned. Okay, it's a learned behavior. I work with a lot of athletes on this, and a lot of corporate executives on this, on the low EI, high EI, low EI chart. So let's get into it.
Well, let's talk about real quick. What is emotional intelligence? Give us a short definition of it.
It's your ability to use your emotions for the betterment of the vision, period. So if you're in a low EI state, you're caught up. We talked earlier about emotions being 7 times more powerful than rational thought. So if you have control of your emotions for the betterment of the team, you're going to be in a productive environment. If you're using your emotions to for your own personal agenda, it's not a productive environment.
Or if you're not aware either.
If you're not aware of it. So the basics of this is really simple. You've got your self column. So there's self-awareness and self-management. So self is really about me and how my emotions are working. Self-management is how my emotions are working with others. All right. Social, what's the social awareness of my emotions? And then what's my relationship management within the social realm? So we can be low in our self-awareness or high, and we can be low in our self-management or high, and we can be low EI with our social awareness or high, and then low or high in the relationship management.
So, on these social ones, what is that social awareness? Like, define that for us.
So it's 2 or more people. Basically, it's 2 or more people. So when you're in a group setting, what are your emotions? Are you aware of your emotions? People that are low EI, usually we can fix it fairly simple with just the idea of, are you aware? So I was in an environment several months ago where I was explaining emotional intelligence, and this guy kept burping. He just burped like 3 times. And I stopped and I said, do you know that you burp? And he said, no. And I looked at everybody else and I said, are you aware that he burps? And they all said, yeah. And they're like, is that annoying? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so now he knows that he burps, right? So now he's going to make a decision. Does he want to burp out loud and be low EI? Or does he not? Does he keep it to himself and be high EI? This is really... the emotional intelligence really comes into play in sports. I'm a hockey guy, so we go into a hockey game, we know that there's going to be a set of emotions. As a coach, I know that there's going to be calls in my favor and against my favor. Now, what am I going to do for the betterment of the team so that we can move forward? So a lot of times whenever I'm challenging a call, or even if I do challenge a call, I'm in control of my emotions. I know that I'm doing this. So the question is, do you know that you're doing this? Have you been in a low EI moment and you didn't realize it? And then you reflect back and go, oh yeah, my emotions had control of me.
Yeah.
So I'm low EI. So that's another good point, is if your emotions have control of you and you act a certain way, you're low EI. You don't have control. So another example is, a coach called me and said, every time I'm in this situation, I swear at the referee. And he said, I know as a Christian I shouldn't be swearing. And I said, okay, well, he said, should I be swearing as a Christian? And I said, well, I'm not the judge on that, but I can tell you what's more important to me, that you're going into the environment, you've been coaching for how many years? 20 years. And you're going into this environment where calls are going to go your way, and they're not. You've been doing this for 20 years, right? And so now you get in a situation where you have to swear. That means that your emotions are out of control, that you don't have control of what's happening. That's a low EI state. So there's certain emotions that trigger different things where you're not aware.
And that's the awareness. What's relationship management? How does that interact with EI?
So if I know I have a certain emotion, I get angry or I get sad, with my peers in certain environments, right? That's a relationship management.
Yeah.
Like every time around him, he seems sad. Well, you're low EI, man. If you don't know that you're sad, how are you managing that relationship?
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And so self-management's the same way. How am I managing myself
I
as
see.
it pertains to self, right?
Okay.
And social. So the first step is if you have a certain emotion that's controlling you, right? Just be aware of it, right? And then it'll kind of take care of itself. Wow, I didn't realize I was that way. So are you low EI or high EI?
And like, I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but once you start to realize that, like, I'm in this situation, I'm aware of it, how do I stop doing it? Does that play into EI? Is that something different?
Yeah, so the first thing is have almost like that out of body experience where you go, boy, I was just angry. Why was I angry? You know, don't just be angry and go tell all your friends that you're angry, right? Have a moment of, you know, a high EI moment where you say, you know what? I felt angry. Why did I feel that way? And what triggered me to do that?
Yeah.
Right? So is there a certain thing to trigger, a certain environment, a certain smell, a certain activity that triggers you to be low EI? You know, you got to think about that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
be aware. Once you're aware, then you can identify the emotion, and then we can get into, we actually have a cone of emotions. That's another video.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you can get into, you know, the productive side, the ineffective and effective behavior of that emotion.
Great.
Yeah. So.
And how does this help if we tie this back into the apply rigor matrix, keeping everything consistent?
Yeah.
How does that, what do we do with all this?
Well, the apply rigor matrix, we talked a lot about emotions and identifying certain emotions that trigger certain things that will be super beneficial to you. So if you're in the valley, in the death valley,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
and it triggers for some reason outside of repetition or mentorship, you know, that you have a certain emotion that comes up, you can know, hey, I'm low EI. Why am I low EI? Or why am I high EI? You know, so it's definitely another tool to use in your tool bag as you're building your vision.
Awesome. Thank you. It was great. Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.